no place like the Q. Family, it's your favorite queer radio personality, Anna Deshawn, and this is Queer News, your favorite weekly news pod where race and sexuality meet politics, culture, and entertainment.
Hi, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. My name is Royal. My pronouns are he and him. I am a trans man calling from West Palm Beach, Florida. I too am in the process of trying to get my podcast off the ground, but I wanted to be a part of this Trans Visibility Day as of today because I want to be able to tell my story. I started a little late in the game, let's say. I'm almost 3 years in. As of October, I started at 42. I want to let everybody and anybody know that if you feel a certain way, if you don't identify, get comfortable with yourself, and then others will accept you for who you are. I hope you pick me to be a part of the podcast because I'm definitely looking to collab and make our voices heard in a positive manner. Thank you for your time and have a great day.
Thank you, Royal, for sending in your TDOV voice note, okay? Thank you for sharing your story. And I say this to anyone, absolutely anyone who feels like they are starting late in life or even just running late for an appointment, okay? I tell people all the time, you are right on time. You are not late. You are on time. Whatever time, okay, whenever you arrive was the time you were meant to be there. And when you drop that podcast, let us know so we can support, okay? Now, Family Royals voice note marks the last TDOV message we received. That makes a total of 21. And that right there is pretty freaking incredible. I appreciate y'all so much. That episode has easily become our most listened to episode this year. And I hope it continues to reverberate for many years to come. Okay, it is a special one. Family, do you have a local news story not getting enough amplification, a queer organization other folks should know about, a song coming out? Okay, send in your queer news tips. I love hearing all of them so much. So please keep them coming. I want to have one on every single show. Now, info on how you can submit your queer news tip is in the show notes. QCrew, what's going on? Thank you for your continued support and commitment to helping to sustain this podcast. Thank you, thank you, thank you. The QCrew helps to cover the cost of our editor, Ryan, who I quite literally couldn't do this podcast without. So if you believe in the work we do, if you believe LGBTQ stories need to be amplified, and if you love and respect how I report on the news and tell our stories, join the QCrew. A link is where, say it with me, in the show notes. Now for the news. In politics, we've got wins to celebrate in Colorado and Boise, Idaho. In culture and entertainment, I've been honored by the Curve Foundation. Chicago is named #1 safest LGBTQ city to travel to. And NFL star Khalen Saunders is hosting a football camp for LGBTQ folks. And how can we forget it's April, which means it's National Poetry Month. So today, we're gonna honor Langston Hughes. Let's get into it. In politics, we've been talking a lot about Montana over the last few weeks, and I think Colorado was feeling left out, okay? Because they're coming back with a vengeance. Colorado is coming through with a few big wins as they continue to solidify themselves as a safe and brave space for queer folks. And let me just say this, when I visited Denver a couple of years ago, it was the first time I had ever been there, I was blown away by how many pride flags was flying, okay? It wasn't pride season. It wasn't because I was in the neighborhood. It was because those bars were owned by LGBTQ folks. It was just how things roll in Denver. And I was taken aback, and it made me smile, and it made me feel safe. Well, this past week, they've passed legislation to protect trans rights and abortion rights. The House approved a bill which will codify gender-affirming care into state law. Major, okay? When this happens, it will prevent insurers from denying or limiting gender-affirming treatment such as puberty blockers, hormone therapy, gender-affirming surgeries. A co-sponsor of the bill, Representative Brianna Tatone, the only trans member of the Colorado House, said this: "It's about taking control of what we can do to ensure that our friends and neighbors and family members continue to get the care they need." The House has also passed a bill that protects the parents of trans kids. A trans kid can't be removed from their home because their parents have signed off on them receiving gender-affirming care. Also major, okay? In that same bill, they included a provision that says teachers cannot out their students to their parents. It went on to say that they consider misgendering, dead naming, or threats based on gender identity to be coercive control. Major, okay? This is totally expected to pass the Senate and then off to the governor's desk for signature. I love all of this. Now, the Senate also passed two bills, okay? They said we can't let the House have all the fun. They passed one which codifies abortion as a constitutional right for anyone living in Colorado. Come on. Then the second bill protects abortion care providers from prosecution. Senator Lisa Cutter said this: "As attacks on reproductive rights continue across the country, we are working to implement strong, responsive laws in Colorado to shield healthcare patients and providers from hostile out-of-state action." Family, Colorado is making sure their people are protected through state policy because of everything happening federally. I'm here for this. I'm here for the people of Colorado being protected in all of these ways. And maybe little known fact, it was to me, in 2018, Colorado's governor, Jared Polis, became the first out gay man to be elected a United States governor. And can I just tell y'all, he can't wait for these bills to land on his desk for signature. In more political news, Boise, Idaho's mayor is standing up for LGBTQ inclusion. Last week, their governor, Brad Little, signed a bill banning government entities from flying flags that didn't represent the country, the state, the military, Indian tribes, Idaho colleges, universities, or public schools. Well, the mayor of Boise, Idaho, Lauren McLean, said for nearly 10 years, the city has been flying the pride flag, and we will continue flying it because we are a safe and welcoming city that values all comers. Just like we are supporting organ donors with a flag this week, we want to be clear that everyone matters. This is my type of mayor, okay? And if you're like me, and was wondering how is this mayor going to get away with this? Well, it turns out the bill that was signed didn't have any enforcement language. So they signed a bill that states what they want to happen, but didn't outline any consequences for anyone that doesn't follow their rule, which is honestly pretty laughable. So for now, the pride flag and any other flag the mayor says yes to will be flying outside of Boise City Hall. Now, family, let's take a quick break. And when we get back, we're going to jump into culture and entertainment. If you're hearing this, it means we didn't sell this ad space. If you're hearing this, it means running ads on our podcast actually can work. You see what I did there? You see this real life example? You got an event, do you have an organization, do you got something you need to get the word out about? We got rates starting as low as $100. Check the link in our show notes for more information.
My name is Jake Wittick. I am the managing editor of Windy City Times, which is Chicago's legacy LGBTQ plus newspaper since 1985. And this is a really exciting time to be part of the Windy City Times team because we're turning 40 this year and the paper's really primed to undergo a renaissance. And that's because we've been leveling up our newsletter game. And what's really exciting is Black Lines, which Anna is the writer for. And Black Lines is a publication that covered Chicago's Black queer community in the 90s and early 2000s. We've brought it back. So the newsletter shares current events, current news, features, everything affecting Black queer people, but also dives into the archives. So it's a really fun past meets present, and it's lifting up voices that are often underrepresented in news.
Jake, I am so excited to be part of reviving Black Lines. Family, if you want to subscribe, a link is in the show notes. Family, welcome back for Culture and Entertainment. Are you familiar with Curve magazine? Curve started in 1990 as a print publication telling the stories of lesbians and queer women. Can we say needed? And honestly, it still is. So instead of folding the project when print began to decline, in 2021, they decided to pivot and move the publication from print to a quarterly digital publication, as well as move it under a nonprofit called the Curve Foundation. So today, it's a nonprofit media publication, and every year they drop a Curve Power List ahead of Lesbian Visibility Week. The Curve Foundation says the Curve Power List celebrates LGBTQ plus women and non-binary individuals making seismic shifts in North America, shaping culture, policy, and social change. From sports and entertainment icons to corporate leaders and politicians, these individuals are breaking barriers, challenging norms, and leaving an indelible mark on our community and beyond. That is what the Curve Foundation says about this Curve Power List. Okay, that's pretty lit. And guess what? I made the list. I made the list. I made the Curve Power List. That's incredible to me. I have seen some of my good friends, okay, on this list. And now I'm part of the crew. What a moment, you know? I've included a link if you want to check it out. The entire list is just full of badass lesbians and queer women and non-binary folks. And I would be remiss, okay, if I didn't name off some of the people on this list, just so you can get an idea, okay? Cynthia Erivo, Sha'Carri Richardson, Raquel Willis, Kim Hunt, Mary Morton, Mel Willingham Jaggers, Jenny Nugent, Bernadette Smith, okay? Kaylani is on this list. Fortune, the comedian, she's on this list. Chapel Rome, Tammy Baldwin, Dr. Ateria Coleman, okay? I mean, Chicago is all up and through this list. Sue Kerr, who I reference on this podcast so much because of her blog, The Pittsburgh Lesbian Correspondence. Blair Imani, I mean, I could literally just go on and on and on and on. Wow. And you can find me, of course, under media and entertainment. It is amazing. I'm going to do a 24-hour turnaround to New York City to attend the celebration in Manhattan. For real though, I just need a place to stay at this point. I just need a place to sleep. It's just for like 3 hours and then I'm back on a plane back home. So that's my priority this week, is to find some place to stay. But family, truly, like, what an honor, you know? Next in culture and entertainment, and speaking of honors, as a Chicagoan, okay, born and bred, South Side all day, I could not let this story pass by without amplifying that Chicago has been named the #1 safest U.S. city for LGBTQ travelers in 2025. Mr. B&B has created a queer safety index with data analysts who examined where queer travelers are booking and where they are more likely to feel safe, supported, and celebrated. This index combines those booking trends with state and local policies, protections, community support, and safety indicators. Mr. B&B actually outlined their methodology as well on their website, using a weighted scoring model and incorporating data from the Movement Advancement Project called MAP, the Human Rights Campaign's Municipal Equality Index, the ACLU's Anti-LGBTQ Bills dataset, PFLAG's chapter presence, and the FBI's reported crimes over the last 5 years. Whew, okay? And after all of that data gets compiled and the weighted scores came out, Chicago, okay, was #1 on the list. Let's go, Chicago. Now, they list 30 cities on their site, but let me give you the top 10, all right? It goes Chicago, Seattle, San Francisco, Portland, San Diego, Honolulu, Denver, Albuquerque, Las Vegas, and Providence. If you want to check out the full list, a link is where, you already know, Come on, let's say it together in the show notes. Let's go, Chicago. Our last story today is a real feel-good one, okay? I feel like this whole podcast has been good news, and honestly, why not? We're getting everything from everywhere else, but here, we can do this. Okay, now, do you know the name Khalen Saunders? Yeah? If you said yeah, then I know you're a real football fan or a New Orleans Saints fan. Valid. Did you say no? Well, then you like me. I had no idea of Khalen until he made the news after announcing he was going to host an LGBTQ-centered football camp in St. Louis. During an interview with the NFL Network show Good Morning Football, Khalen said, "It feels as though there's not really a safe space for the LGBTQ plus community in the very male-dominant and heterosexual-dominant sport. Being an ally is more than just saying I support, but it's also showing up." Come on, Khalen. That is what a comrade sounds like, okay? Now, why is Khalen so passionate about this? I mean, I thought about that when I saw this story. And it's usually because there's somebody in their family, right? Well, in Khalen's case, it's his brother. His brother is family and is a backup dancer for none other than Taylor Swift. He's going to launch this camp on July 5th, and he's co-hosting it with former Dallas Cowboys defensive end R.K. Russell, who came out as bisexual. He's also working with GLAAD and the NFL Pride Football Combine on this campaign. I love this so much. As someone who grew up as an athlete, who played 1 year softball in college, this is everything to be seen, okay? And as a queer woman who presents his mask, my life and my experiences are just so vastly different than those of my gay brothers. It is a different world for them. And where I found acceptance is not where they found acceptance. And so what Khalen is doing is so important. So many people are going to be seen, okay? Feel seen because he's doing this camp. I love this. Also, family, if you didn't know, the 36th annual GLAAD Media Awards are on Hulu right now. They dropped on the 12th for the 5th consecutive year. So if you don't know, the GLAAD Media Awards honors media for fair, accurate, and inclusive representations of LGBTQ people and issues. So tune in and watch the festivities and the ceremony for yourself, okay? And one day I'm going to be on it, okay? Because we all we got. You know what time it is. We're at the end of the show, which means it's time for Anna's Got a Word, because Anna's always got a word. And as we discussed, April is National Poetry Month. So every week this month, I'm going to leave you with a portion of a poem or the full poem by a queer writer. Last week was Nikki Giovanni's Ego Trippin'. This week, it is Langston Hughes himself. I thought it would be wonderful to read his poem, Harlem. Now, according to biography, it is arguably his most influential poem. It is his Harlem Renaissance Manifesto, and it influenced Lorraine Hansberry's A Raisin in the Sun, and Dr. King referenced it on more than one occasion during his sermons and his speeches. So here is Langston Hughes's Harlem. What happens to a dream deferred? Does it dry up like a raisin in the sun, or fester like a sore and then run? Does it stink like rotten meat, or crust and sugar over like a syrup sweet? Maybe it just sags like a heavy load, or does it explode? Whew. Or does it explode? Child, my dreams, if they were to ever be deferred, they would absolutely make me explode. So I'm grateful that I have the privilege to live mine out and make my dreams a reality every single day. Don't let your dreams explode inside of you, okay? Let them shine real bright. A path will be made for you. My mentor likes to say, My gifts will make room for me. And I believe your gifts will make room for you too. All right, family. I'll talk to y'all next week, okay? All right. Peace. If you've enjoyed what you heard, rate and review us inside your favorite podcasting app. This podcast is written and produced by me, Anna Deshawn. Podcast editing by Ryan Woodhall. And brought to you by E3 Radio and distributed on The Cube. We are Queer News Done Right.